Hey now, what is up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I am in a good mood. I'm in a good mood because I have reached the point in my Batman movie watching to talk about and review Batman Begins. Yes, this was the reboot to the Batman franchise, the much needed reboot to the Batman franchise. It came out in 2005. It was directed by Christopher Nolan. The plot is, we see at the very beginning, Bruce Wayne is in prison, and we get a series of flashbacks that really present his origin and how he came to this point, everything that went on with his life and the psychology behind Batman, pre-Batman, and he gets discovered by Henry Deckard, who is played by Liam Neeson, and he tells him, hey, pick this flower, climb these mountains, and you will find what you're looking for. And he meets the League of Assassins. They train him, they refine him to be this great fighter, but he doesn't want to stay with them. They want him to kill, and he does not want to do it. So he leaves, comes back to Gotham after 7 years, and he's going to use these new skills, use this knowledge to become Batman. And as Batman, he has to save Gotham and protect them for what is about to come. Now, what I think of Batman Begins is, it's pretty obvious that I love this movie. I do. I've never loved a reboot so much, I think, before, just especially for a franchise that desperately needed it. Batman and Robin almost killed the franchise. It wasn't until 8 years later where Warner Brothers finally said, okay, I think it's time now to reintroduce the character, to try something different with this character. And because of that, we did get something different. We got Chris Nolan, who was willing to treat this seriously, willing to present it like it's a real movie, not just a superhero movie, a comic book movie, a fun kids movie. No, he presented it like it was the real deal. Our new Batman is Christian Bale. And Christian Bale, I have said it before, I will say it again, he is, as far as live action goes, my favorite actor to portray Batman. I love everything about him. I love how we get so much backstory with him, that so much care, time, and effort was put into this backstory, that we see the flashbacks that really help us understand him as a child, dealing with his father, and their dynamic, their relationship when his parents die. It's that much more hard to watch, especially just that quiet scene. Don't be afraid. And then you see him a little bit older, and he has this obsession now with Joe Chill, the man who killed his parents, and he wants to kill him himself. He has a gun, he's ready to do it, and I love the events that transpire there in the courtroom, and how his childhood friend Rachel Dawes is really against him for this, really makes him feel like shit for even thinking about using a gun, and that immediately you get why he does not use guns. And there's this one scene in particular where he goes to meet with Carmine Falcone, who is played by Tom Wilkinson. And I remember when I first saw this, 2005, I was still a teenager, and I watched that scene of young Bruce meeting Carmine Falcone and going in there telling him that he's going to stop him and this and that. And Falcone just looks at him and says,
"Don't come down here with your anger, trying to prove something to yourself. This is a world you never understand, and you always fear what you don't understand."
And that scared me. For some reason, just seeing such a small scene that just really presented what Bruce Wayne was up against, what type of criminals, what type of crime bosses that he would have to go up against. It works. When he's back in Gotham and you see how he does it, you see how he comes up with the right material to create the bat suit and the gadgets that he gets from Lucius Fox, played by Morgan Freeman, who I love. Just obviously a great actor, but I love the relationship. I love the fact that Lucius knew his father, so Bruce instantly trusts him, and he's always asking for certain things to use, and he has to make up a lie and say, oh yeah, it's for spelunking, or it's for this and that, rock climbing. And Lucius is not a dumb guy. He kind of sort of knows what's going on, but he doesn't ask any more questions. He lets him do it. Even the one scene where Bruce wants to use that tumbler. And I know, especially at the time, some people weren't happy with the tumbler. They thought it was too big and it didn't look enough like a Batmobile, traditional Batmobile. And I guess I understand that, but I love the tumbler. I do, especially in this world, in this super realistic, gritty world where they were presenting this whole mythology in a realistic way. If Batman was real and rich, that's the type of Batmobile he would drive. Something that's that powerful, that much of a just brute force. The scenes where he's trying to help Rachel and they're driving through being chased by the cops. He's driving on rooftops. There's so many good just Batman moments in here. All the moments that are you watch it and it feels epic. It feels the way it's supposed to feel. Like obviously the scene where Bruce gets back to the cave and the bats are flying around and he embraces it and he almost becomes one with these bats and overcomes his fear. I love that scene, but I think my favorite Batman moment in this movie, besides the shots of him standing above the cities, the big buildings, looking over, and it looks iconic, it looks epic, it looks so comic book. But I'm talking about the scene where he wraps up Detective Flask, has him upside down in the rain.
I swear to God. Swear to me!
It's so intense. This is my favorite, I think, movie with Christian Bale's Batman voice. It's perfect, the right amount of edge, the right amount of scare. Batman definitely has some scary moments in here, and that is one of them. Let's talk about some of the other actors and characters, though. Alfred is played by Michael Caine, and Michael Caine is my favorite Alfred of all time. I love him. I love, like in the flashbacks where you see him comforting a young Bruce, and there's so much warmth to the character. But there's also some witty moments with him, some little moments of humor. It's never over the top. Any Nolan movie, there's never too much humor, but it's the right amount. It's intelligent humor. It works. He is making me laugh constantly, and he's likable. Gary Oldman as Jim Gordon, and I can't stress enough how much I love not only Jim Gordon when he's done right, but Gary Oldman doing this. He's like one of the few last good cops left in Gotham, and you see that. You see the moments where he just sees these dirty cops, and he won't ever break. He won't ever give in, but he also feels helpless, hopeless. And when Batman comes into contact with him and basically says, "Hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna clean up the city. We're gonna try to do it." And Gordon, I love their relationship, their partnership, even all the way throughout the end of the movie, where Gordon's helping him. He's driving the tumbler.
I gotta get me one of those.
I want to talk about Rachel Dawes. Rachel Dawes is played by Katie Holmes. And when people talk about this movie, when they talk about the actors in this movie, they always say that Katie Holmes is the weakest. They talk about how she's not that good or this and that. And I like Katie Holmes. I do in general. But I also like her as Rachel. I think she has this just real niceness to her, especially like you buy that they were childhood friends and that you finally have a love interest, a potential love interest, that Bruce Wayne, you buy him maybe being in love with her because they have that established relationship. They have that, they clearly care about each other. And I like the fact that she too is one of the few people who is trying to do good. She's trying to clean up the corruptness going on.
It's not who you are underneath. It's what you do that defines you.
Let's talk about the villains. I talked about Carmine Falcone and how he has his drugs being shipped into the city, and the one scene where Batman, like one of his first times out as Batman, and he goes in there and starts taking his guys out. I love that it's in the criminal's point of view, so you're seeing them freaked out. It's almost shot like a horror movie.
Where are you? Here.
Some people complain that we don't get to see the action. You don't get to see Batman like really doing what he's doing, but I like that. It's something different. We finally got to see like how Batman is from a criminal's point of view, how scary he can be, how easily he can take them out, and how he does it so fast you can't see it. And the moment where he grabs Falcone.
I'm Batman.
Falcone was just a pawn. Falcone was working for Jonathan Crane, aka the Scarecrow, played by Cillian Murphy. I really love this actor. I do. I think he's underrated, and when you see him in this role, you could even argue that the Scarecrow is underused in this movie. Some people will say that, but I think it's the perfect amount, because the Scarecrow, he's a villain that you have to use right, and I love how he's used, how he's this doctor who's going in and taking all these criminals, making them insane in his own ways, to get them to Arkham.
They scream and they cry.
There's something really underlyingly creepy about him. There is, but there's also something subtle to the point where maybe you wouldn't suspect him to be bad, but you know something is up. Very creepy. The Scarecrow mask and just how he uses that with his fear gas. The fear gas, I love everything about it. The one moment where he actually takes Batman down, sprays him with the gas, and Batman's freaking out, goes flying out the window on fire. It's hard to watch, especially seeing Batman in such a vulnerable state, and he's on the roof and he's bugging out. I talked about Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson, sure, he's Henry Deckard, but we come to find out that Ken Watanabe was not Ra's al Ghul, that Liam Neeson was Ra's al Ghul, and that it was just a ploy, it was a distraction so that nobody really knew who the real Ra's was. I love that. I love that twist because you don't really see it coming, and it makes sense, it's logical, and it's not a slap to the face of any comic book fans who love Ra's. Like, you really do present Ra's in a smart way, in a more up-to-date, realistic way, and I think it works. I love when he comes in and he looks at Bruce, and there's a part of him that wishes Bruce was next to him. There's a part of him that wishes that they destroyed Gotham together, because he thinks he's right. He thinks he's saving Gotham in his own way. But he also looks at Bruce and thinks that he betrayed the League, that he burned down their house. He comes here, burns down Wayne Manor, and it's so, their dynamic, their relationship, the mentor-mentee, but also bitter rivals. Liam Neeson's such a great actor. Seeing him play bad, be evil, is kind of different, but he's so good at it. His grand scheme of vaporizing the water supply and turning it into the fear gas, and it's crazy, it's chaotic, especially at the end where the Narrows, that island, is being taken apart. People are running rapid and crazy and seeing things. We get our one moment of Scarecrow on the horse.
There you are. There's nothing to fear but fear itself.
And Batman trying to ride the train to stop it. For what almost feels like a smaller movie, or for what feels like a movie that, especially at the time, went under the radar, this movie did so much as far as the Batman character goes, as far as bringing him back into the limelight and making him serious, taking him seriously, treating the genre seriously. There are so many movies from this point that really looked at what Batman Begins did, structurally, story-wise, everything that they did for the character, and made everybody fall back in love with him. This movie had such a huge influence on superhero movies in general that I almost want to say, yes, this is the best superhero movie ever. This is the best Batman movie ever. It's that good. It's only second as far as Batman movies go, in my opinion, but it's still up there. It really is. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Batman Begins? Do you love it as much as I do? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!